Welcome back to Obscurus Gaming, and today I'm playing Gigantosaurus Dino Sports, a family-friendly, sports-themed minigame fest released a few weeks ago to all major platforms. I picked this up thinking it might be a fun arcade sports game that flew under the radar a bit, kind of like Alpaca Ball back in the day. But that's not exactly the case, as this is more of a minigame collectathon than an actual arcade sports game. There was also no Olympic video game this year for some reason. Last Summer Olympics we got both the Mario and Sonic game, as well as the more realistic Tokyo Olympic video game, but this year, nothing. So this might actually be the closest thing we have to an Olympic-themed video game for 2024. Also, I discovered it's actually the third Gigantosaurus game released for this generation based on a kids' Disney show. The first being an adventure game, the second being a kart racing game, and now the third here being an Olympic sports-themed game. But is it any good, at least for a younger crowd? Let's find out.
Speed up! Show us how it's done!
Yeah! Faster! Super speed!
When first turning on Dino Sports, there is only one game mode that is available from the start, and that's Giganto Games, which can be played with up to 4 players locally. When selecting a character, I'm assuming these are all from the TV show, and you can choose either a kid or grown-up difficulty setting, but both are still very easy, clearly made for a younger audience. I went with Bill the Bronchiosaurus. We are then treated to a cutscene with 2 dinosaur announcers who perform a brief opening ceremony of the Giganto Games, where we compete in 8 minigames for the grand Pineapple Prize. Along the way, there is a story, and there are 2 raptors who remind me of the Team Rocket Power from Pokemon trying to come up with a plan to steal the pineapple. And between each minigame, there is a cutscene. The story isn't too important, but it does feel like you're playing an episode of the show, and it is creative. The voice acting is solid, and again, a younger audience would probably enjoy some of the cutscenes here, assuming the TV show is done in a similar style and tone.
One of these 4 will be feasting on that pineapple before the end of the day!
Oh, someone's gonna feast on that pineapple, all right. It just won't be them.
Yes! And who will it be?
Us, you dum-dum.
Over the course of the next half hour or so, you'll play in 8 total sports-themed minigames: stunt surf, climbing, stop and go, jump dive, hang gliding, dino fruit blast, raptor triathlon, and ice dash. In order of my favorite to least favorite, I'll start with climbing, which is a quick climbing, rock climbing game where you jump from ledge to get to the top. And if you didn't know, I'm pretty sure speed climbing is an Olympic sport, for what it's worth, just minus dinosaurs throwing rocks at you. Next is Dino Fruit Blast, which is an on-rails shooter minigame of sorts where you feed plants, and it honestly feels a bit out of place in this video game, but as a minigame itself, I did enjoy it and is one of my favorite ones. Next is Raptor Triathlon, where you'll run, swim, and ride your way to the finish line, basically by pressing buttons as fast as you can. While pretty basic, it did help bring in that Olympic feeling to the game. Hang gliding is next and is a side-scrolling Flappy Bird-esque game where you dodge obstacles and collect fruit, and feels like it could be thrown into a Mario Party type game with no questions asked. Speaking of which, Stop and Go is the next game and is Gigantosaurus's answer to Mario Party's Sneak and Store minigame, which is one of the better games here. Next up is Stunt Surf, a surfing racing game where you try to grind rails and jumps to pull off tricks, which kind of feels like a skateboarding video game just on water. Ice Dash is just bobsledding your way to the finish line by trying to hit boosts along the way. It's fun, but with only one course, it's a bit boring after a couple plays. And finally is Jump Dive. It's a rhythm game where you press buttons in order at the right time to pull off certain poses in the air as you free fall. In total, there are 8 sport adjacent, I guess we'll say, minigames here, and none of them are duds. but nothing really that spectacular either or deep. Kids will definitely enjoy them, and families with younger ones would also enjoy them too.
3, 2, 1, go!
Now, after winning the Giganto Games, you unlock a couple additional modes, challenges, and puzzles. The challenge mode consists of a couple new mini-games where you play as Giganto himself, and about 20 or so remixes, I'll say, with 4 medals, a completion medal, bronze, silver, and gold. These are basically slight tweaks to the main games with a rule change or two or a new element introduced. For example, in Jump Dive, there's a challenge where you won't be able to see what button to press until the last second, or there's another challenge like climbing. There are just way more rocks thrown at you than there are in the main game. I personally found these to be a little disappointing, as at first I thought these would be like 25 new mini games, but they would definitely be a nice distraction for kids to play. The other game modes that you unlock are custom, which allows you to create your own decathlon of sorts by picking the games you want to play, perfect for local multiplayer, and then there is a little puzzle mode thrown in as well.
Hurry, Todar! There's only one trial left! We need to find another pineapple, or Giganto will turn us into banana pudding!
So yeah, that is Gigantosaurus Dino Sports, a perfectly adequate game for families with younger children or fans of the show. The initial price point for this game at launch a few weeks ago was $40, and that's kind of insulting. There isn't, I think, enough content to really justify that, but now that there has been a price point drop to $20, it's fine if you fit their target audience and want a new local multiplayer game to play. Performance-wise, I did play the Xbox version, and it ran with no issues at all. The challenge mode, here after you win the initial Giganto games themselves, does pad the runtime a bit as well, but the highlight for me again is the Giganto games with the cutscenes and everything. It feels like you are playing an episode of the TV show, and kids will definitely enjoy that. Anyways, thanks for watching this kind of random review of Gigantosaurus Dino Sports, and I'll catch you guys next time.